He's ready to take it back or stand 10 toes down.
You funny, Molly. Take it back.
Listen
Ain't
up.
no chance I'm taking that back.
All right, listen.
He's the quarterback. He's the most important player on the team, and they spent a ton of cash around him on the offensive side of the ball to prop him up and make sure that he performs at a really high level. So don't give me the empty calorie stats about how Joe Burrow is phenomenal. If he's so great, then why is his team not in the playoffs and a team like the Denver Broncos with Bo Nix is as a rookie quarterback? I don't understand it. I don't get it. But everybody wants to say, oh, Joe Burrow. Listen, I get it. Joe Burrow is a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback. He's just not an elite quarterback because elite quarterbacks aren't healthy the entire season and skip out on the playoffs.
You don't think Joe Burrow's an elite quarterback?
Nope.
All right, so are we going to take it back or stand 10 toes?
No, I'm standing 10 toes down. And I didn't stutter when I made this statement, Molly. He's not an elite quarterback, and we've got to get out of this.
Can't he?
We've got to get out of this thing where we want to anoint everybody an elite quarterback.
Who's everybody?
I'm just saying, we can't give the runner-up to the runner-up to the runner-up elite quarterback status. There ain't but 3 spots on the medal stand. When we start talking about the podium, it's a gold medal spot, it's a silver medal spot, and it's a bronze medal spot.
Okay.
All right? The 4th place guy don't get an acknowledgement. And that's where I'm at with the Joe Burrow of it all. I think when you look at the big 3, when you look at what Patrick Mahomes has done, when you look at what Lamar Jackson has done, when you look at Josh Allen's body of work, those guys have done more in this league in terms of being able to validate their abilities as a quarterback. When it comes to being able to acknowledge the level of player that you are, we got a couple of ways we measure that in the league. It's Super Bowl rings, it's MVPs, and it's all pros. Joe Burrow ain't got none of those. Joe Burrow's claim to fame is once upon a time, 4 years ago, beat Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game on his way to losing the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, that doesn't give you elite status.
Okay. The audacity, since I got to match fire with fire. I thought you was giving it away because you had the orange and black, Apple Watch. I was like, oh, okay, you about to come around. Go with the Bengals. But if it's not Joe Shiesty, who else? Because Joe Shiesty, who else? Because when you watch Joe Burrow in the pocket, he knows he's going to get hit. He knows he doesn't have the offensive line to really sustain and hold up. But still, and yet, he's still delivering. Now, if you give Joe Burrow, as you know, Mr. Chris Canty, I need you to do your job on the defensive line so I can do my job as an offense, too.
Sure.
He's doing his job, but he needs other people to do their job. If you give Joe Burrow a top 15, heaven forbid a top 10 defense, where would they be then? His defense that he played with this year is atrocious. It goes without saying. His stat line, and everybody keep talking about, ain't this from the dude that talking about I ain't giving no Super Bowl back for MVP? Yes! Joe Burrow did his job. You do your job better than the opposing person doing their job. Like I said yesterday, you need 11 guys doing one thing the best of their ability, not one guy doing 11. Joe Burrow held his end of the bargain up. Now, as far as his defense, they failed him, and they know that. And it's embarrassing to even say that a guy who put up those type of numbers doesn't have nothing to show for it because the inability of his counterparts.
Normally, I would look at somebody like Chris Canty and say he needs to be drug tested immediately. But Chris Canty, something's happened to him. He's phenomenal on radio in the morning. He's must-listen to radio in the morning. But he's been getting up too early. And it's not all and I've been there when you've got to get up 3, 4 in the morning to get ready for that morning radio show. And you're not all there, Cam. You're just not all there. Trust me on that. You're not all there. Okay? And some of your faculties are missing and stuff like that. You just ain't right. And that's clearly Chris Canty. See, he didn't bring up the defense. And we know how knowledgeable this brother is. He's brilliant when it comes to the sport of football. He knows what the hell he's talking about. So the bottom line is that you didn't bring up the defense. That is on purpose. purpose. Chris Canty left that out on purpose. He didn't know. It wasn't that he didn't know. It wasn't that he forgot. He intentionally didn't mention that because he know that defense was trash. That's number one. Didn't bring up Zach Taylor either. This is a coach that, do you realize, since Zach Taylor arrived in Cincinnati 6 years ago, they are 1-11 in the first 2 games of the season? 1-11 over 6 years. I have called for an investigation into Zach Taylor and his staff for what the hell they're doing in the offseason, because they are never, ever prepared at the start of a season. They are always battling and climbing uphill because they're never ready to go. Do you know that this year, Chris Canty, this is the first year that Joe Burrow has been healthy and they haven't been to the AFC Championship game. In the 2 of the first 4 years that he was healthy, because he got hurt 2 of those years, the other 2 years he was healthy, they were in the AFC Championship game. Okay, they lost 1, they won 1, and went to the Super Bowl. Now let's go to some numbers, because I know you know this is important, Chris Canty. 4,918 passing yards, led NFL. 43 touchdown passes, led NFL. QBR, 3rd in the NFL. Passer rating, 3rd in the NFL. Now, where Chris Canty has a point, Cam, is in the 4th quarter. Because the first 3 quarters of the first 3 quarters of a game in this season, Joe Burrow had 30 touchdowns and 6 turnovers. In the 4th quarter, okay, 8 of his total of 14 turnovers on the season, 8 of them, 5 interceptions, 3 lost fumbles, 8 of them occurred in the 4th quarter. So that's what Chris Canty's pointing to, those turnovers that have taken place in the 4th quarter. But overall, when you look at Joe Burrow, bottom line is this. The brother has beaten Patrick Mahomes. The brother has beaten Josh Allen. And he's 1-6 against Lamar Jackson. That's the problem. He's 1-6 against Lamar Jackson. But he's beating those other guys. I'm just saying, when you look at the arsenal that he brings to the equation, the fact of the matter is he's one of the elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. And to say otherwise is beyond blasphemous. Beyond, CeCe.
Oh, my God.
Beyond.
So he's one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL because he beat Patrick Mahomes 4 years ago?
No,
he's
bro.
one because
I'm just asking, because that's the claim to fame.
No, I said all the things. I didn't just say that.
Here's where I'm at, Stephen A., because you bring up the slow starts, and I think Zach Taylor deserves plenty of blame for that. But so does Joe Burrow. He's not immune from criticism when it comes to that. The first game of the season this year, they lost to the New England Patriots at home, and that offense scored 10 points. The 4th quarter in Arrowhead, this guy has a sack fumble, gives away the ball, and it gets returned for a touchdown. That was the difference in the game. Week 3 at home. Hold on. Let me say this. Week 3 at home, Monday Night Football against the Washington Commanders, empty red zone possession after empty red zone possession. Week 5 at home against the Baltimore Ravens, he throws an interception. The Ravens force overtime, and then they end up winning. I can go on and on. Pittsburgh Steelers game in Cincinnati in the second half, turnover. We keep going through this and saying the defense is to blame. The defense is to blame. The defense gives Joe Burrow less margin for error, yes. But Joe Burrow is not immune from criticism. And here's the last thing I'm going to say about the – hold on, let me say this, Stephen A. About the elite quarterback business. Elite quarterbacks in their prime that play all 17 games don't skip out on the playoffs. Elite quarterbacks in their prime, when it comes to the last half decade, don't find them teams more times than not outside looking into the playoffs. You keep bringing up the health part of it.
You need to stop.
Herman would say it best. The best availability is availability. That's on the quarterback. You can't blame nobody else for Joe Burrow not being healthy.
Oh, come on. CeCe, he lost to Washington. He drops 33. They dropped 38. He lost to Baltimore. He drops 38. They dropped 41, okay? He lost to Baltimore again. He scores 34. They scored 35. He lost to the Los Angeles Chargers. He dropped 27. They dropped 34. I'm just looking at it right here. He lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He dropped 38. They dropped 44. You, on the defensive side of the ball, you trying to tell me if I sat up there and I said to you, 33, 34, I'm sorry, 33, 38, okay? 34, 27, 38. I tell you, your offense is giving you that going into a game, and you're a defensive player, and you're going to try to tell me you're going to look at the quarterback if y'all lose those games? You ain't going to look at yourselves. You ain't going to look at your defense and say, yo, we got to do something. Look at the numbers he's giving us. Damn, he ain't going to be perfect, but putting up those kind of numbers, we going to be all right if we show up. You trying to tell me you ain't going to say that? Stop that. Stop it, CC. You just stop it right now. Stop it.
Well, y'all can't quit that Bengals narcotic. I tried to tell you last
need
year.
to
I told you
need to
last
quit.
year, and I told you this year they wouldn't make the playoffs, and nobody wanted to listen to me. I told you, Stephen A. I told you.
All right.
If he's elite,
that
we
ain't
ain't
what we said.
if he's elite, we ain't having that
To be
conversation.
continued. All right, we're up against it. Let me roll here, guys.